I'm going to share with you traveling tips today that I have given to other people in the past, and they have come back and thanked me for it. Okay, well, my family and I just got back from a fantastic vacation in Italy. We currently live in England. One of the reasons we even accepted a job in England was for all the wonderful regional travel we could do that would have been way more expensive had we been doing it from the US. So we went to Italy. It was amazing. Highly recommend if you ever get the chance, even with kids. The kids had an amazing time. I mean, they ate so much pasta and gelato. It was ridiculous. So it's fresh in my mind on the little tools and tips that I have on what makes traveling with kids, even kids who get motion sick like mine. And actually, I get motion sick myself. I have some tips specifically for you, poor people who have motion sick kids. Let's get into my top tips for traveling really anywhere with kids. This is not about just traveling to Italy. This is traveling anywhere with kids, especially if they get motion sick. Okay, first things first, we all know about Dramamine, but I actually don't love to give my kids Dramamine. I really only will do that if it's going to be like a full day on a boat or a train or something like that, where I know for sure that they might be miserable in this situation. Other than that, I try not to, because it kind of just makes them lethargic and they don't really feel good. Even when I only will give them like a half of a dose, and it still just doesn't make them feel super great. But what does seem to work, I don't know why, it might even be a placebo effect, but we have these little bands that we put on the kids, and they have these little pressure point things in here. They put them on their wrists. They seem to help. I don't know why, but they just seem to work. So I have a set for each of my kids, and I think that it almost just kind of makes them feel better, like, oh, I have my bands on, I'm going to be okay. So whatever. Okay, the other thing, just to be prepared. Do you know what these are? I get them off of Amazon in these huge packs. These are getting sick bags, and I have one in everybody's backpack, in my purse, ready to go, so that at any moment, if anybody feels the urge to get sick real quick, we have them. And why they're so great is because it's just way better than trying to unfurl a plastic sack that might have a hole in it. And, when kids are little, they're not really aware of making sure that the opening is staying open. If I could tell you the number of times that I've had a bag in front of my kids and they just go over the top of it. It's terrible. So these really help to get in somebody's face and catch everything. And then it's real easy to just kind of do this at the end and wait until you can dispose of it. So these are wonderful, and it just makes me feel better to know that it's less likely that if somebody does get sick that we're not going to need new clothes or something. So this helps, and I don't know what it is that my kids actually, they'll feel much better if they could just get sick, and then they'll feel better after that than if I were to give them Dramamine and they don't ever get sick, but just for the rest of the day they are feeling kind of down. They would rather just go this route. So I don't know, but I have one of these everywhere. They fit in my small little purse. Okay. Another thing that I would recommend is for each kid to have their own water bottle that is small enough to fit in the side of a backpack. That way, if you are going to an airport, you go through security first with the empty water bottle. And then after security, in most airports that I have been to recently, and I've been in a lot, most airports have free water bottle filling stations. It saves a ton of money to just take a water bottle empty through security, fill it up later. And also while you're traveling, it just kind of helps to have for your kids to be able to continue on with the activity with what you're doing. If you just have a quick sip of water for them and maybe a snack or a granola bar that you have in your bag, so that it buys you time to make it to the next meal, so you don't have to stop what you're doing, go find a drink of water because they're worn out or whatever. It gives them this quick boost of energy so that you can continue on with your activities. I find that to be very helpful. Okay, the next thing more specifically is that if you are going anywhere where there is a Rick Steves travel guide, I really recommend it. It is so readable that even my third grader loves to just read it because it's written in such a personable way. And so he'll read it, and I love these pocket guides. I mean, this came from our library and I took it to Rome and Venice with me. These pocket guides, again, fit in a small purse. And whenever we were at lunch or a break, we would pull it out and do just a quick read through on the next place we were going to go. So I know that anywhere that you go in Europe is going to have one of these. But I mean, Rick Steves is now kind of its own empire. So they have a lot of these guides for multiple places where you might want to go with your family. And so I've been through a lot of travel guides. These are so good. And their recommendations, they keep really up to date. So, I mean, we just went to Windsor, the town of Windsor with the castle recently. And I read a restaurant recommendation in the Rick Steves guides, and it was so great. And so we got lots of great recommendations that were off the beaten path. It saved us money because, they weren't right on the very touristy area of things. And so Rick Steves will save you money and it will keep your kids entertained. Another great thing was when we were going to a particular museum, they do a great job of picking out the top things that you want to see in the museum so you're not just overwhelmed with everything. And so that was really helpful for my kids, that we could go and find this particular painting and we knew a little bit about it. And so then it was kind of an adventure to go and find it. These are great for kids. You can probably get it at your library if you don't want to spend money on it, just like how I did, because I use these for everywhere I go. So Rick Steves Pocket Guide are amazing. Another thing are to take with you for every kid, depends on how long you're going to be gone, but a little field guide. Okay, I get these off of Amazon in bulk because I use them so often. These field guides I'll keep in my purse, and anytime we were at a restaurant at our trip, I pull this out with a pen and they just go to town drawing the place where we just were, or whatever they want to, whatever they see in front of them, because they're just bombarded with new things all the time. So this was my son's, and here you can see that we went to Rome because he was making it very Roman with his self-portrait here. Anyway, it was a ton of fun to see what they drew here. These unique trees that we saw while we were in Italy. They just had a great time. And then sometimes we would say, hey, do you remember thus and such of what we saw? Let's see who can draw the best representation of it, or whatever. You can do whatever you want with it. But this with a pen is really all that you need to do, because you also don't want to have your phone out all the time, entertaining the kids, or really just having your phone out depending on the area that you're in, like how we are a lot of times. So put these in your purse. They're great. Next thing, my purse. Okay. This was clutch while traveling. This I got off of Amazon. It was probably, $15. Probably less, knowing me. What I love about this bag, and so really any bag like this is key while moms are traveling. Crossbody, it goes in front of you, okay? So you can also put your coat over it if you need to hide it away. Another thing I like about it is that it opens like this, and you can just be standing here and nothing's going to fall out, so you can use both hands to get in and out of it. It holds everything that you need, like so. Multiple pockets to keep things. This pouch right here is where I kept everybody's travel bans, so it really helps you to stay organized. Definitely don't go traveling with your purse that's just like one big bucket of a bag. You need a bag like this. And even if you want to take the big bucket bag, take this too, and you can toss this in the bucket bag when you need to. So this was key. You can wear it on the back, but again, I was in Rome. You want to have it in the front of you so that you can be wary of pickpockets and stuff like that. So get yourself a good crossbody bag that will allow you to go hands-free, and also so that you can unzip it and it will stay upright. The next thing that is kind of fun, in my heart of hearts, I'm somewhat of a minimalist. And so a lot of times I can go into a souvenir shop and be very, very snobby about no, that's junk. I don't want that. We're not going to spend $5 on a little souvenir for the kids. Well, I have completely changed my mind about that stuff, because my kids, so we were just in Rome, and my son wanted this little Colosseum and totally let him get it. It was $5. Why I love it, because we've done this on other trips that we've gone on. He loves having these little, I don't know what you would call this, the little model of something that he's seen. And he keeps them out on his shelves, and he will just talk about it all the time. It keeps it in the front of his memory. And so I think that's, with the amount of money that you spend traveling, you want your kids to remember it. And so to have a visual representation of something that they picked out at a little souvenir shop or something that they can keep out and look at and remember someplace where they were. So my son got this for the Colosseum in Rome, and he got this awesome thing for when we went to Venice, because the symbol of Venice is a lion with wings. So he's always going to know that this symbol is for Venice. This was probably a total of $10 completely, and he cherishes these little things. I have really changed my ways when it comes to souvenir shops. When we're traveling with kids, like, do I buy that for me? No, but I did get this. So, hey, I guess I am the same on wanting some kind of a souvenir. I have totally changed my mind. I'm a lot less snobby about the souvenir shops because my kids really enjoy them. I can see how it keeps the memory alive for them. I think that it's actually totally worth it. And something small enough that will just easily fit in a bag also. Oh, okay. So breakfast. Breakfast while traveling is kind of a really big deal because, first of all, it's very expensive to go and buy every single meal. Like if you're staying in a hotel, buying every single meal out is really going to break the bank. And so what we like to do is to, even if we're in a hotel and all that you have access to is that tiny little mini fridge, we like to go out as soon as we get someplace and get our breakfasts. And we're kind of an eggs and bacon family. And so while we can't have that in the hotel, what I get instead are salami and cheese slices or deli meats and some apples, things like that, where we can wake up, have a breakfast, and then get on with our day. It saves us like 2 hours of the day. And those morning hours when the kids they're most fresh and not tired are really key to kind of get out there and to get to some things that you really want to see. So kind of skipping the restaurant breakfast is really key for us. If you typically eat cereal for breakfast, then yeah, cereal bars, granola bars, crackers, stuff like that would be really easy to bring with you. We're kind of more protein heavy in our needs. I just go to any kind of convenience store or anything nearby to get some ham, cheese, apples, string cheese, anything like that we can kind of make a quick breakfast off of and move on with our day is really, really important. Last thing is that if you have time or the resources or whatever to prepare a little bit before you go, and I'll explain what I'm saying. So I knew for about a month that we were going to be going to Italy. It just so happens on Memoria Press, they have this Famous Men of Rome, and they have for the 4th and 5th grade, and my son is going into the 4th grade for this upcoming school year. And so I just went ahead and quickly ordered this because it's just like these little stories about the famous men of Rome. And so I spent the last month reading to both of my kids, my 6-year-old and my 9-year-old, stories out of this. And it was so wonderful that when we went to Rome, that they could pick out little things like, oh, that's the wolf and Romulus and Remus, And so it was great to kind of prep their minds so that they could absorb more. Even if it's as simple as like, I didn't really have anything specifically on Venice, so we just watched a few YouTube documentaries on it. And so then when we went there, they're like, oh, there's that thing that we saw. It kind of helps them to make a bigger connection, and they get excited to see something that they're already familiar with. To just do a slight bit even of preparing to go somewhere, I think it kind of helps it to sink in even more when you're there. That is it for today's traveling tips. I have a million more. So let me know in the comments below if you would like to see more travel information, travel content. Man, I could get my husband on here and he could talk all day about how to do things on the cheap and, the right kind of flights to get and how to save money here or there. He is truly the king at booking the travel, and I am the queen at making sure that everybody has a proper place to get sick. So I hope that you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.